I'm going to keep this straightforward because I know you're wondering whether the BUNN dual satellite brewer is really worth the price tag, or if it'll just sit idle while you keep using a single-serve machine. I've spent the last few weeks watching office kitchens, small batch roasters, and a few busy households that actually need to serve coffee by the gallon. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I want you to walk away with is a clear picture of the day-to-day experience, the hidden trade-offs, and exactly who will get their money's worth. First off, the biggest hesitation people have is the sheer capacity. A brewer that can push out 16 to 19 gallons an hour sounds more like a coffee shop's backroom equipment than something you'd put in a break room or a large family home. The reality is that the dual satellite isn't a make-a-patan-stop appliance, it's built for people who need to serve a crowd repeatedly throughout the day. If you run a small office of 3,040 people and you notice the line forming every morning, this machine will clear that line in minutes. On the other hand, if your biggest coffee need is a single pot for 2 or 3 people, you'll likely be paying for capability you'll never tap. The way BUNN designed the brewing cycle is pretty clever. You can set the machine for 0.5 gallon, 1 gallon, or the full 1.5 gallon batch, and the hot water faucet stays separate, so you never have to worry about the water temperature dropping the brew level. In a real-world test at a co-working space, the staff set it to the 1 gallon mode for a mid-morning rush. The brewer filled the carafe in roughly 3 minutes, and the water temperature stayed consistently around 200 F, which is the sweet spot for extraction. That separation of hot water and brewed coffee also means you can use the faucet for tea or instant oatmeal without contaminating the coffee reservoir, a small convenience that matters when you're juggling multiple kitchen needs. Now, let's talk about the portable 1.5 gallon server that comes with the dual satellite. It's not just a tote. BUNN added a patented safety-fresh lid that locks the brew-through spout when you're moving the server. The orange-colored faucet handle is a visual cue that the server is ready to pour, and the decal reminds you to keep the lid closed while transporting. I saw a catering crew load the server onto a cart, wheel it to a conference hall, and open the lid right at the moment they needed coffee. The safety mechanism prevented any accidental spills, which is a real advantage when you're dealing with a full 1.5 gallon of hot liquid. If you're the type who likes to set up a coffee station in a different room or take the server to a meeting, that lid is the kind of detail you'll appreciate. What you won't find in the spec sheet is the noise level. The pump and boiler cycle together to produce the high throughput, and that does generate a low hum that you can hear from across the kitchen. In a quiet office environment, it's noticeable but not disruptive. Think of it like a commercial dishwasher humming in the background. If you're setting this up in a library, a yoga studio, or any place where silence is prized, that hum could be a deal breaker. It's a trade-off you have to weigh against the speed and volume the machine provides. One practical weakness that shows up once you start using the dual satellite daily is the cleaning routine. Because you're brewing large batches, coffee oils and fine grounds can build up on the internal walls faster than on a homebrew kettle. BUNN recommends a weekly descaling cycle, and the machine has a built-in cleaning program, but you still have to pull out the brew-through lid, rinse the server, and run a clean water brew to flush everything out. For a busy office that already has a janitorial schedule, that extra step can slip through the cracks, leading to a subtle bitterness after a couple of weeks. If you're not prepared to add that to your maintenance checklist, you might end up with a brew that tastes off and wonder why. On the flip side, the real value of this brewer comes from the time you save during peak demand. A typical 12-cup drip machine can only serve a handful of people before it needs to refill, which means you're constantly watching the pot and refilling water. The dual satellite's ability to brew up to 1.5 gallons in one go means you set it, walk away, and come back to a full carafe that will stay hot for hours thanks to the insulated server. In an office where people start arriving at 7 a.m., that alone can shave 15-20 minutes off the morning scramble. That time savings translates directly into productivity, which is where the higher upfront cost starts to make sense. So who should buy this? If you run a small office, a co-working space, a boutique CAF that needs a backup brewer, or you frequently host events where coffee is the main beverage, the dual satellite is A.